During World War II, there was a soil secret so effective, so dangerously powerful, that it could triple any harvest without a single bag of fertilizer. Soldiers used it to feed entire battalions when supply lines collapsed. Families in bombed-out villages grew more food in their backyards than modern industrial farms grow today, with millions of dollars in synthetic inputs. The secret wasn't expensive, it wasn't complicated, it was free, and for 80 years it has been systematically erased from every agricultural textbook, every farming guide, every seed catalog in America. Not because it failed, because it worked too well. Because you cannot patent soil, you cannot trademark bacteria, you cannot put a price tag on something that regenerates itself forever. In 1947, a $200 billion fertilizer industry was born from the ashes of World War II. The same factories that made bombs to kill millions began making fertilizer to feed millions. And they needed you to forget what your grandparents knew. They needed you dependent on bags of chemicals instead of the living earth beneath your feet. But the truth can't stay buried forever. In this video, we're uncovering 6 World War II soil secrets that were deliberately hidden from history. Secrets that still outperform modern fertilizers. Secrets that cost nothing, require no corporate dependency, and work even when supply chains collapse and store shelves go empty. By the end, you'll know exactly what they did. And more importantly, you'll know how to do it yourself when the bags of chemicals stop coming and the stores stop selling what you need. If you're new to this channel, we uncover forgotten knowledge that powerful industries have spent decades trying to erase. The survival wisdom of our grandparents, the farming secrets that built civilizations, methods that work forever, not just until you run out of chemicals to buy. Subscribe now because this information is too important to miss. And share this video because the algorithm doesn't want you to see content like this. Now let me show you exactly what they buried. Number 1, the chop and drop method. In the bombed out gardens of wartime Europe, families faced a problem modern agriculture made worse. How do you grow food when there's nothing to buy? No fertilizer, no amendments, no bags of anything from any store? They discovered that nature never leaves soil bare. Never. Walk into any forest, any meadow, any wild place untouched by humans. What covers the ground? Fallen leaves, dead plants, organic debris slowly breaking down and feeding everything above it. World War II. Gardeners copied nature exactly. When a plant finished producing, they didn't pull it out. They didn't haul it away. They chopped it at soil level and dropped it right where it grew. Dead tomato vines, spent bean plants, finished squash. Everything stayed in the garden. Nothing was removed. That organic matter became food for billions of soil organisms. As it decomposed, bacteria and fungi multiplied explosively. They converted dead plants into nutrients living plants could use. The soil got richer with every season instead of poorer. But the benefits went beyond nutrition. That layer of chopped material acted like a blanket over the soil. Rain didn't wash away topsoil. Moisture stayed trapped underneath, reducing watering needs by 70%. Weed seeds couldn't germinate in the darkness below the mulch. The USDA tracked victory gardens using this method in 1943. Gardens using chop and drop produced 3 times more tomatoes than control gardens using chemical practices, 2.5 times more beans, 4 times more squash. After the war, fertilizer companies launched their marketing campaigns. Extension agents taught chemical methods. Agricultural schools removed soil biology from the curriculum, and chop and drop was forgotten, buried, erased from memory. Today, permaculture farmers are rediscovering what World War II families knew. They're feeding the soil instead of feeding the plant. And they're growing harvests that chemically dependent neighbors can't explain. Because when you understand that dead plants are not waste, but wealth, you never need to buy fertility again. The secret was always right there, lying on the ground, waiting to be used. Number 2, the forest soil inoculation. In areas where soil had been depleted by years of poor farming, where bombs had churned up dead subsoil, where nothing seemed to grow no matter what people tried, there was a deeper problem. The biology was gone. The living organisms that make soil fertile had been killed. World War II gardeners discovered a solution so simple, the fertilizer industry has spent 80 years making sure you never hear about it. They went to the forest. Healthy forest soil is the most biologically active substance on Earth. Every handful contains billions of bacteria, thousands of species of fungi, countless microorganisms that science is still discovering. This soil has been building itself for thousands of years. The method was called forest soil transfer. Gardeners found a healthy forest nearby, the kind with thick leaf litter and soil that smelled rich and earthy. They collected a few handfuls of dark, crumbly material from under the leaves, not buckets, just a few handfuls. They mixed this forest soil into their garden beds, sprinkled it across the surface, worked it lightly into the top few inches. Those forest organisms didn't just sit where placed, they multiplied, they spread, they colonized. Bacteria reproduce every 20 minutes. One becomes millions within days. Within a single growing season, organisms from that handful of forest soil transform dead dirt into living earth. Families in bombed cities used this method to restore poisoned gardens. Refugees brought forest soil to fields that hadn't grown food in years. Soldiers created gardens where none should have survived. Unlike synthetic fertilizers, you buy every year. Forest biology is self-sustaining. Once established, it persists, it reproduces, it improves year after year. You're not purchasing fertility, you're cultivating it. After the war, agricultural schools stopped teaching this method. Extension agents never mentioned it. Gardening magazines pretended it didn't exist. The knowledge was actively suppressed because it threatened an industry built on selling what nature provides for free. They couldn't let people know that a handful of forest dirt was worth more than a truckload of their products. Number 3, the Three Sisters guild planting. Most people think plants grow alone. One seed, one hole, one row. Modern agriculture teaches monocultures, single crops stretching across vast fields, each plant identical, each row separate. This is exactly wrong. World War II gardeners knew it. They revived something far older and more powerful than anything modern agriculture invented. A system Native Americans perfected over thousands of years. They called it the Three Sisters: corn, beans, and squash, planted together, in the same bed, at the same time. Here's how it works. Corn grows tall, 8 or 10 feet toward the sun. It provides a vertical structure, a living pole. Beans wrap around the corn stalks and climb toward light. No trellis is needed. The plants hold each other up, but beans give something back worth more than structure. Bean roots contain bacteria that pull nitrogen directly from the air and deposit it into the soil. They manufacture fertilizer while they grow. Free. Squash spreads broad leaves across the ground, creating living mulch. They shade soil completely, keeping it cool and moist. Weed seeds can't germinate in that darkness. Water that would evaporate stays trapped beneath those leaves. Underground, the roots connect through networks of fungi. These fungal threads link root systems together, allowing them to share resources and information. When corn needs nitrogen, beans provide it through the network. When insects attack squash, warning signals travel through fungal highways to other plants. This isn't mysticism. This is peer-reviewed science. Dr. Suzanne Simard at the University of British Columbia has spent 30 years documenting these underground networks. She calls it the Wood Wide Web. Victory gardens using Three Sisters required 50% less water than conventional gardens. Those same gardens purchased zero fertilizer. The beans provided all nitrogen the corn needed. And Three Sisters gardens produced 60% more total calories per square foot than monoculture planting. After the war, fertilizer companies needed farmers to forget this. Three Sisters became folklore instead of farming advice, stripped of its practical power. Today, permaculture designers are bringing it back. They're proving that plants don't want to grow alone. They want to grow together. Number 4, the Compost tea brewing system. In the wettest regions of wartime Europe, disease killed gardens silently. Fungal infections spread through damp soil. Bacterial blights wiped out plantings overnight. Modern gardeners fight with chemical fungicides that kill disease but also kill beneficial life. World War II. Gardeners found something better. They brewed tea, compost tea, a living liquid teeming with beneficial organisms that could be sprayed directly onto plants and soil. Here's how they did it. Finished compost, dark and earthy smelling, was placed in a burlap sack. This was submerged in a barrel of rainwater. The mixture set 24 to 48 hours, stirred occasionally. During that time, organisms in the compost multiplied explosively, filling water with billions of beneficial bacteria and fungi. The liquid was poured onto soil to boost biology beneath the surface, and sprayed onto plant leaves, where beneficial organisms outcompeted disease-causing pathogens. Plants sprayed with compost tea resisted fungal infections that destroyed neighboring gardens. Tomatoes stayed healthy when blight swept through villages. Beans grew strong when bacterial diseases rotted crops down the road. The beneficial organisms colonized plant surfaces, occupying space that diseases needed. Gardens treated with compost tea developed darker, richer earth within a single season. Earthworm populations exploded. Root systems grew deeper. Plants became more drought-resistant. World War II gardeners called it manure tea or compost water. They knew plants treated with this liquid grew stronger, resisted disease better, and produced more food. After the war, chemical companies marketed fungicides as modern solutions. The living approach was replaced by the killing approach. Today, organic farmers are brewing compost tea again. They're proving you don't need to kill disease. You just need to crowd it out with organisms that actually help. Number 5, the cover crop living mulch. Winter was the forgotten season in most gardens. After harvest, soil sat bare for months. Rain washed away topsoil. Freezing and thawing cracked the ground. Biology built during summer died without roots to feed it. World War II gardeners understood that bare soil is dying soil. They kept ground covered and living even when food crops weren't growing. They planted cover crops. Clover was most common. It grew fast, covered ground completely, and pulled nitrogen from air into soil. A garden planted with clover over winter emerged in spring with more nitrogen than it had in fall. Free fertilizer manufactured by plants while you slept. Winter rye was another favorite. Its dense root system held soil in place during heavy rains. Those roots exuded compounds that fed soil bacteria through cold months. When spring came and rye was cut, extensive roots decomposed underground, creating channels for water and air. The method required almost no work. Seeds scattered across the garden after fall harvest. Light raking covered them. Rain did the rest. When time came to plant, you cut the cover crop at soil level and planted through the residue. Cut material became mulch. Roots broke down underground, leaving organic matter in channels. Biology fed all winter exploded with activity when food crops needed it most. After the war, seed companies stopped promoting cover crops. No profit in seeds you didn't harvest. The idea of growing plants you didn't sell seemed wasteful in an economy built on selling products. Today, regenerative farmers plant cover crops on thousands of acres. They're building soil while industrial farms destroy it. Number 6, the seed-saving adaptation system. World War II taught gardeners a terrifying lesson about dependency. When supply lines collapsed, when stores closed, when nothing could be purchased, the families who survived had saved their own seeds. This wasn't just about having seeds. It was about having the right seeds. Commercial varieties are bred for average conditions, designed to perform adequately everywhere but excellently nowhere. Seeds saved from your own garden are different. They remember where they grew. Every season, plants that thrive are plants best suited to your exact situation. Your soil biology, your rainfall patterns, your pest pressures. When you save seeds from best performers and plant them next year, you're selecting for success in your specific conditions. World War II gardeners saved seeds from tomatoes that ripened before frost, from beans that produced despite drought, from squash that resisted diseases killing neighboring plants. Each generation became better adapted. After a few years, home-saved varieties outperformed anything purchased. Seeds were harvested from healthiest plants, dried thoroughly in shade, stored in cool, dark, dry conditions in glass jars. Families maintained seed collections going back generations. Grandmother's tomatoes, great-grandfather's beans, living genetic libraries containing decades of adaptation. When refugees fled bombed cities, they often carried nothing but seeds. Those tiny packages represented survival, independence from systems that could collapse overnight. After the war, commercial seed companies consolidated control over plant genetics. Hybrid varieties replaced open-pollinated ones, producing seeds that couldn't be saved. Farmers became dependent on annual purchases. Today, seed savers are fighting back. They're maintaining heirloom varieties, building seed libraries, ensuring no family ever depends on a company that might not exist tomorrow. These weren't just gardening techniques. They were acts of survival in a world trying to kill everything. The people who developed these methods had observation, desperation, and wisdom from generations who grew food without corporate dependency. Their methods weren't primitive, they were superior. Synthetic fertilizers degrade soil. These methods build it. Chemical inputs create dependency. These methods create freedom. Industrial agriculture extracts wealth until nothing remains. These methods generate wealth that compounds forever. The victory gardens of World War II proved what was possible. 20 million families growing 40% of America's vegetables. No chemicals, no corporate inputs. Just soil, seeds, and knowledge passed down through generations. That knowledge was deliberately buried after 1947. The same companies that made bombs, made fertilizer, the same dependency that kept nations fighting, kept farmers buying. For 80 years, they've been winning. Soil has been dying. Food has been losing nutrition. Every year, we've become more dependent on systems that can collapse at any moment. But knowledge wants to be free. Wisdom finds ways to survive. And the next time supply chains fail, the next time store shelves go empty, two kinds of people will exist. Those who wait for someone to save them, and those who already know how to save themselves. If you believe this knowledge is worth preserving, if you want to be ready instead of dependent, subscribe now. Share this with everyone who needs to hear it. Because the soil is still alive. The seeds are still waiting. And the knowledge is still here for anyone brave enough to use it. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next secret they're trying to bury. Because there are more. Many more. And we're going to uncover all of them. Share this video with everyone you know. Send it to a friend. Post it everywhere. Because every person who learns the truth is one more person who can't be controlled. Every garden that abandons chemicals is one more victory. Every family that becomes self-reliant is one more crack in the wall they've built around this knowledge. This is how we take our future back. Not through politics. Not through protests. Through action. Through knowledge. Through the simple act of growing food and living soil. One garden at a time. One family at a time. One harvest at a time. I'll see you in the next video.